So here we are inside the Mustang GT with the Linkswell system installed. It's really, really neat. It does look great. I did show what it looks like installed in the original video that we did, but obviously I never showed you how it works or if it's any good. So that is essentially what I'm going to be doing in this video. So let's start by looking at the boot up time. So I'm just going to push it on and we'll see what happens. So we have a Mustang GT background. I think this is custom, is it, Dave?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
yeah, so it is custom. Normally what would happen is it would boot up showing a Linkswell logo. It's interesting though, like we only just had that on. It's not instant booting. It does this every time.
Yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't seem to save any memory. It does do the full boot up sequence every time. Okay, but here we go. So this is the dashboard that you see when you actually switch it on. And as you can see, you have the buttons for the various features of the car. You've got some media controls at the top here, and you've got various controls at the bottom here as well. So on face value, the dashboard is very, very simple. There's no real design to it. It's just a bunch of buttons. So you've got navigation, which you can set to the app of your choice. Then we have the radio. If we just tap on that, you have the presets along the top here, and you can skip along the presets by using the buttons up here. Nice and simple. Bluetooth connectivity, so that you can have your hands-free calls and also stream Bluetooth music. And then you have some basic settings like Google Chrome browser. The auxiliary video and sound input is available from that button there. So when browsing the apps, as I showed you there, you just go to app list and you can see all of the available installed applications. And don't forget, it is Android, so you can go to the Play Store and you can basically go and install whatever you want, and it's going to work. You may notice that it says DAB down here, and that is because as an Android head unit, you can have DAB, because any Android head unit can use DAB. So if I tap this, one annoying thing about this unit is it does continuously come up with allow the app DAB access to the USB device, and even if you do use by default USB device, it still comes up every time, which is quite annoying. But once you get past that, you do actually have DAB channels, and you know, you've got all the album art or the station artwork on all of them as well, which is pretty cool. Now this car, when it was factory, had a Sync 2 system, which did have a navigation system and DAB already installed, and the downside to this particular unit was it was unable to use the Mustang's own GPS antenna and DAB antenna. Now that is why we have the DAB antenna on the window, and the GPS antenna is hidden under this this part of the dashboard in here. But again, that doesn't really matter. When you have aftermarket units, you generally have to have some other aftermarket things as well. Also, from a look and feel perspective, the way that it actually fits inside the vehicle is beautiful. It does fit very, very well indeed. It looks factory. It does look really nice. The colours go well with what's in here. Now obviously this is a UK car, so the engine start-stop button is on the opposite side. It should be over here, but again, that really doesn't matter because it really doesn't take any additional effort to move my hand over here than it would be over here, so that's not a problem. The climate control systems are built into this unit, so you've got some physical buttons for the climate control and temperatures. On this side you have the rear window demister. You have the sports steering wheel comfort, so if I press that, it actually shows up on the dashboard. I can choose between normal, sport and comfort. Traction control off, and then mode, which is driving mode, so normal, sport plus, racetrack, snow or wet. So you can basically control everything that you did with the previous system, but with this main unit here. Then you've got a big knob over here for the volume control and the mute, and then the knob over here is for tuning, and if you hit the middle button it will open the radio. Now if you're not particularly impressed by the launcher that is provided like this, I would be with you. It is a bit boring. However, when you buy the Linkswell system, they do give you the Nova launcher as well. So if you have a look in the app list, you will find that we have the Nova launcher here, and you can set your default launcher to this. Now It does look very basic at the moment because we haven't actually used it, but the Nova Launcher allows you to add widgets and icons to your preference. So if you wanted to add a speedo or time and date app or any widget on here, you can do that. The thing that didn't change though when we moved to the Nova Launcher is the top and bottom rows. So in the top row you still have access to your music, your home and your back button, and the volume control. And at the bottom you have access to key features, so navigation, radio, music, climate control, Bluetooth, DAB and phone links. Okay, so let's talk about speed. It does have an octa-core processor and it does have 4 GB of memory. Now they are good specifications for an Android based head unit. The 2 things that I normally do to see how quick it is load up Spotify and Waze. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to go into app list, open Spotify. Okay, so it's not too bad. It did take a few seconds to load up. It's not the fastest head unit, but it is still pretty fast from a Spotify loading time point of view. And now let's just try Waze. And that was fast. Okay, so this is a fast head unit. It is pretty decent from a speed perspective. So from a connectivity perspective, it has all the standard input outputs that you would expect. You have several USB ports for devices, normal Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So from a features perspective, it has all the stuff that you'd expect from an Android head unit. Crucially though, it also has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. To access Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, you simply connect your phone to the USB port in the center console in your armrest. And then it automatically appears on the screen. So the phone's just been connected and now we have Android Auto, and as you can see we can access all the apps from the phone. And if you just plug your phone in as soon as you get into the car, it will just automatically come up here. You don't need to do anything else, it just pops up. And you can do the same for the iPhone as well. Now from a car integration perspective, this obviously was created for the Mustang. It was specifically made for this car and nothing else. It's designed for the American market in the left-hand drive, but obviously it goes straight into a right-hand drive Mustang as well, so no problems there. And it's quite easy to set up, as you can see from the other video that I created. Also, it connects to the factory reverse camera, so if I just pop the car into reverse, see that it is using the factory reverse camera, which is pretty cool. And down the bottom here you can see that it's utilizing the reverse sensors and showing the distance between the car and the obstacles that are currently behind us. Naturally, it connects really well to the car's factory shaker sound system and it sounds amazing, not to mention the climate control functionality. So if I hit this button down here, you have access to the fan speed controls, the heated seats, the climate control, everything. You can control everything from the head unit just by pressing the buttons on this system here. Right, let's talk about sound quality. So if we go into settings and into audio and then into equalizer. Now here you have treble, mid-range and bass. So you've got very limited control over the stock sound system from this point of view, and separate control of the sub. But also if we go to equalizer, you have some basic functionality here so that you can change the way that the system's going to sound just by pressing that. So as you can see, the equalizer is 3 channels. You don't get the massive amount of audio control that you get with most aftermarket head units. On this system, they've made it very simple to keep it in line with the original factory system: treble, mid-range, bass, sub. The stock sound system in this car is one of the best I've ever heard. It really does have an amazing sound system, and this is sufficient. And then in the balance, you can control the fade and the balance. So from a sound perspective, yeah, it sounds amazing because the car's shaker system is awesome by default. You don't have a massive amount of control, but you really don't need it in this car. So yeah, it's fine. Right, let's give it some scores.